You got to be committed to doing your work prior to the catch. So you see Artest battling and then the active hands, not allowing Carmelo to catch it where he wants to. Active hands comes up with the steal.
Ron Artest, Meta World Peace, a name that sends chills through NBA fans and opponents alike. He wasn't just a player, he was chaos incarnate. A defensive genius, a championship winner, but also the man behind some of the most shocking, unforgettable moments in basketball history. From his early days in the harsh streets of Queensbridge to the unforgettable malice at the Palace, Ron Artest played basketball like it was survival. Every court was a battlefield, every game a war, and every opponent someone to dominate or intimidate. Early life and the roots of rage. Ronald Artest didn't grow up angry by accident.
Crowd fired up, and a shot which Harden goes down.
And our world peace elbowed him.
Oh no, let's take a peek.
Born and raised in the Queensbridge projects of New York City, he was surrounded by crime, drugs, and constant danger. Queensbridge is the largest public housing project in North America, notorious for its high crime rates, especially during the crack epidemic. From an early age, survival wasn't a choice, it was a necessity. Witnessing fights, drug dealers, and chaos around every corner shaped a young boy into someone who could never afford to look weak.
Like I got a chance to go run over there and get it, start intercepting passes, blocking shots, and the best thing really is forcing bad shots. So I always go right to the limit, sometimes beyond the limit.
Even in school, young Ron learned fast. One wrong look, one underestimated opponent, and you'd pay the price. He developed a short temper, a relentless drive to assert himself, and an instinct to fight back against any threat. Basketball became his outlet. But the courts of Queensbridge weren't playgrounds, they were battlegrounds. No referees, no rules, no mercy. A missed shot, a bump, a glance could spark chaos. And for Ron, every possession, every matchup, every moment was about proving he was untouchable. Basketball as survival. This mentality followed him into organized basketball. At LaSalle Academy, one of New York's top high school programs, his talent was undeniable. He dominated defensively, shutting down the city's best players. But alongside his skill, the warning signs were clear: intensity, aggression, and a temper that flared in an instant. In 1991, tragedy struck. During a YMCA tournament, a friend of his was killed when a broken scorer's table became a deadly weapon in a fight on the court. For most, that would be a moment to step back. For Ron, it became a defining lesson. Every court was hostile, every game could be life or death. Basketball wasn't just a game, it was survival. By the time he reached college at St. John's University, this fire didn't subside. Coaches and teammates saw brilliance on the court, but they also saw a fuse that could ignite at any moment. Arguments with referees, technical fouls, and intense confrontations became the norm. Entering the NBA. In 1999, the Chicago Bulls selected Ron Artest 16th overall in the NBA draft.
So, I'm accustomed to playing basketball really rough. And I came into the league, that's how I was accustomed to playing. I'm used to fighting on the court, and that's how I grew up playing basketball.
In this sense, scouts knew exactly what they were getting. A defensive powerhouse with elite toughness, but also a volatile personality that could explode at any moment. Ron entered the league the same way he had always played: intense, fearless, and aggressive. But soon, the NBA learned that his temper wasn't just a quirk, it was a storm. Opponents knew that bumping him would earn a harder retaliation. Michael Jordan? He cracked his ribs during a game.
So you still in warm-up, still in game gear. At halftime, you'll go up, grab some yak, some Henny, go back to the locker room.
Ron didn't back down, not from anyone. His early NBA years were marked by chaos, partying during halftime, working at an electronics store for DVD discounts, and constantly testing the boundaries of discipline. Eventually, the Bulls decided he was too much to handle, trading him to the Indiana Pacers in 2002. A peak in controversy. The Pacers seemed like the perfect fit. Built around Reggie Miller and Jermaine O'Neal, Indiana prided itself on defense. Artest thrived. In the 2003-04 season, he averaged 18.3 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 3.7 assists. He won Defensive Player of the Year, becoming the next player since Dennis Rodman to average over 18 points while being the league's defensive anchor. Yet even at his peak, chaos lurked. Technical fouls, verbal altercations with referees, and even a $248,000 fine for smashing a monitor demonstrated that his temper could never be fully contained. And then, the most infamous moment of all, November 19, 2004, the Malice at the Palace. A game against the Detroit Pistons erupted into mayhem. What began as a physical play escalated when a fan threw a beer at Artest. He snapped. Jumping into the stands, he attacked the wrong person, igniting a fight that involved players and fans alike. The result? But Artest was suspended for the remainder of the season, 86 games, the longest suspension in NBA history. His team, the Pacers, saw their championship hopes vanish overnight. Teammates were furious, fans were outraged, and the NBA world would never forget it. After the malice, even after the infamous incident, Artest's journey was far from calm. Traded to the Sacramento Kings in 2006, he continued to clash with coaches and teammates. In 2007, an off-court incident landed him in legal trouble for domestic violence, further tarnishing his reputation. A move to the Houston Rockets offered a brief glimmer of stability. Playing alongside Tracy McGrady and Yao Ming, he contributed to playoff victories, but his fiery temper never fully disappeared. Elbowing Kobe Bryant in one playoff series led to an ejection, showing that even at his best, Artest's aggression came at a cost. Teams kept betting on his talent because it was undeniable. But the risk was always there. Could his brilliance outweigh his volatility? Redemption with the Lakers. In 2009, the Los Angeles Lakers took a chance, signing Artest to a high-profile roster with Kobe Bryant and under the guidance of Phil Jackson, a coach famous for managing intense personalities. This was Artest's opportunity to prove he could control the fire. During the 2010 NBA Finals against the Boston Celtics, Artest rose to the occasion. Game 7. The fourth quarter, he made critical plays and helped the Lakers secure the championship. Finally, his talent and intensity were channeled toward victory. But even then, Artest's journey wasn't linear. Seeking personal growth and promoting mental health awareness, he legally changed his name to Meta World Peace. Some saw it as a sign of evolution, others as another eccentric chapter in a chaotic career.
Ben to the rack, lays it up, no, but we do have the whistle to foul. Ben just went after Artest.
Continuing chaos. Old habits die hard. In May 2010, he was suspended for striking J.J. Barea. Guess in 2012, during a game against the Oklahoma City Thunder, he elbowed James Harden, causing a 7-game suspension. Despite championships, name changes, and efforts at self-improvement, Artest remained a force that could not always be tamed. He explained it simply. Every time he stepped on the court, he felt like he was back in the streets. Basketball was still surviving. His opponents? Still threats. And every game? A battlefield. Legacy of fire. Ron Artest played 17 seasons in the NBA. While he earned All-Star honors, won Defensive Player of the Year, and captured an NBA championship. Yet none of these accolades define him. His legacy is marked by the moments that made fans gasp, teammates nervous, and opponents wary. The malice at the palace, the fights, the elbows, the chaotic energy. Ron Artest was more than a player, he was a phenomenon. A man whose intensity could elevate a team or destroy it. He was a living reminder of what happens when raw talent meets unbridled aggression. The lessons and reflection. Ron Artest's story is complex. It's about survival, rage, and redemption. About a boy who grew up where weakness meant danger, who transformed that survival instinct into dominance on the court. About a man whose temper often overshadowed brilliance, yet who ultimately achieved greatness. His journey shows that talent alone isn't enough. Discipline, self-awareness, and control are equally vital. But it also shows the human side behind the headlines, a person shaped by circumstance, striving to find balance in a world that demanded toughness above all else. Ron Artest, Meta World Peace. One of the most unhinged, misunderstood, and extraordinary players in NBA history. A man who played with a fire that few could withstand, whose legacy is as chaotic as it is brilliant. From the streets of Queensbridge to the grandest stages of basketball. Well, his story reminds us that greatness often comes wrapped in unpredictability, and sometimes, the most unhinged players leave the most unforgettable mark. So, what do you think? Was Ron Artest a villain, a survivor, or something in between? Comment below and share your thoughts. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories of legends, chaos, and the human side of sports.